You're joining part 3 of the Bob Hoover unbelievable story.
To duplicate what you're going to witness, I'm going to have you grounded.
Bob Hoover believed, his bosses believed, and those who saw him fly fighters in those days believed he was simply the best there ever was. Which makes what happened to him in combat all the more surreal.
Okay, I had this in my part 2 video, surreal. So he's telling you what you're hearing, what you're thinking is surreal. Okay? It's like as if you took some LSD. I don't know all the modern drugs on the street. It's a trip. You're tripping. Okay? You just took something. Now you took it because, first of all, you're in a state of hypnosis, and secondly, because the people who run the system are witches and warlocks. So the witches and warlocks want you to keep going on with this fantastic, unbelievable story of Hoover.
The day I was shot down, we were dive bombing some transports, feeding supplies into...
Okay, now let's just stop for a second. We were dive bombing. Now, I'm going to propose to you the thought that that's all nonsense. Because if you have a big, large bomb attached to your plane and you're going at a high speed and you release it, do you know what that'll do to the aerodynamics of the plane? It'll put the plane out of control because you can't release a large amount of weight without it affecting the aerodynamics. So, first of all, he says he's dive bombing. Now, he'll say next, delivering supplies. How can you dive bomb and deliver supplies? In other words, he's just making it up. I'll take it back a couple seconds here. By the way, I'm not sure, but it looks to me like this is Sam Elliott, the actor. I'm not sure, I'm just guessing.
We were dive bombing some transports, feeding supplies to the Germans in southern France there. And
what do you say, taking supplies to the Germans? In the south of France? It's the most discombobulated sentence, but it don't matter because you're hypnotized. And you're under witchcraft as you watch this stuff and listen to these liars.
We were attacked by 4 Focke-Wulf 190s. And we just pulled off of the target of releasing our bombs, and we were all split up. I pulled out of a break like this, and I was up about almost 90 degrees, and I saw this Focke-Wulf out here, and I just ignored him. And about that time, I was hit. And believe it or not, it was a 90-degree deflection shot.
Okay, believe it or not. So why don't you, in your mind, say, I don't believe you, you're a liar. Now, most people will say, well, I believe you. Well, see, when this kind of stuff comes at you, just go ahead and say it out loud. I don't believe you. You're a liar.
Well, I knew I had no choice. The fire was so bad, I just rolled it upside down, and I hoped that they wouldn't hit me again. And I just rolled it upside down and fell out, hit the water.
Now, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Does he not have a seatbelt on? And what about the canopy over his head? He didn't mention any of that stuff, right? He just fell out.
I got tangled up in my parachute lines. And then I sat there in the water, and I had shrapnel that came all through the bottom.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Listen to the verb he used. I sat in the water. I sat in the water. You sit on a chair or a sofa. You can float in the water. You can swim in the water. But as far as I know, you don't sit in the water.
And I was in the water all afternoon.
Oh, all afternoon. Okay, let's ask another question. What was the temperature of the water? Was this a heated pool? Was this a jacuzzi? Listen, depending upon the temperature of the water, an individual can't survive. Hypothermia sets in. But he sat in the water all day long. He was smoking cigarettes and reading a magazine, right? Well, listen, the story gets a little better. So hang in there with me.
German Corvette was searching for two of their pilots that had gone down, and they found me. And I remember for as long as I lived trying to sink my escape kit because I didn't want the Germans to catch it. I'm sure by then they must have had hundreds of them. But it was a little encasement that had a saw blade encased in rubber, which you inserted in your rectum. And it had a map, a cloth map of the area we were finding.
Wait a minute, let's back up. Why doesn't he want the Germans to get it? Maybe they'd like to put it in their rectum. Let's do it again. This is so secretive and so vital. The Germans can't get it. He's telling you. That's the portion or the anatomy of your body you're using when you believe his stuff.
My parachute lines. And then I sat there in the water, and I had shrapnel that came all through the bottom of the airplane.
Oh, yeah, he's also bleeding to death.
Was in the water all afternoon, and a German Corvette was searching for two of their pilots that had gone down, and they found me. And I remember for as long as I lived trying to sink my escape kit because I didn't want the Germans to catch it. I'm sure by then they must have had hundreds of them. But it was a little encasement that had a saw blade encased in rubber, which you inserted in your rectum. And it had a map, a cloth map of the area we were fighting in.
All I gotta say is you better have a pretty big rectum, and you better make sure that rubber don't melt either, because you ain't gonna be doing something that you need to be doing. If the rubber melts.
And it had some chocolate bars, some other things that...
Oh yeah, the chocolate bars go in the same place where the saw blade goes.
It could keep you from severe pain. This it was a Corvette, and it had like a ladder coming down with a platform on the bottom right near the waterline. So finally they had a long poke.
Okay, now why would a person have to say like a ladder? Okay, it was a ladder. It's because he's making it up and they fill things in. And that's how you fill things in. You just, your mind, you can't get the right word out, so you say like a ladder.
pole with a hook on it, and they hooked me and pulled me onto that platform.
Okay, we're getting ready for the next phase of the Hoover story. That is escape from the POW camp. So stay tuned. There's more to come. End of video.